Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. So I'm down to just the one screen here at the moment as I do move out of my apartment. Tomorrow, in fact. So, do bear with me. I'm back to the good old tried and tested method of using my phone to check the chat. So I'm just going to get that set up now. And there we are. Okay, so if you guys actually do say anything, I should be able to keep a track of that. So yes, we're going to be playing here WEGO World War II Stalingrad. Now this one is, if you recall, we did play the North Africa one, the Desert War of 1940 to 42, I think was the title. And this is quite cool. I'm actually really quite excited. I've had access to this game about 2-3 days. I haven't unfortunately had a chance to play beforehand due to the university and moving out, getting things ready. But I did take a quick look. I'm quite excited actually. There's been some UI improvements as well, which looks quite good. So I'm looking forward to this. Let me just double check that things are working. They should be. But yeah, this will be our look at it then, shall we? We'll start off over here. Get that up and ready. And then at least we can use that when needed. But yeah, you guys, if you've seen the North Africa Desert War, you will be fairly familiar. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do then is we'll play, of course, the new AI game. We do have about an hour and a half here, and then afterwards we will have a tiny break, and then we'll be playing about an hour of war plan. So we do have some good Second World War themes here today. So we do have a meet and battle at Kotarnikovo. This tutorial is based on a fictional encounter between relatively equal-sized forces. The purpose of this scenario is to provide the player a brief overview of the game in WEGO World War II Stalingrad. Now, victory conditions gain more victory points on the other side by destroying enemy units. So we do have some choices. Do let me know if the music is too loud, by the way, and I can definitely adjust that. So, wait to let me know as a comment, and that will be good. Okay, so we do have an option there, and we could even play as the actual Axis or as the allies over here as well. Could even watch an AI versus AI game if we wanted to. But I think that'll come in the future. How you doing there, Jackal? It's good to have you, my man. Yeah, Gamer did a great job, didn't he? So, we do have then the campaign over here. This campaign game consists of 4 scenarios that cover the advance of the 6th Panzer Army towards the city of Stalingrad between the 31st of July and the 9th of September 1942. So there we go, we do have the 6th Army Command, we do have Paulus over here. And we face our adversary. So I think what we'll go ahead and do then, I think that's what everybody wants to take a look at. We also do have additional scenarios here, so we have 6 scenarios between the 31st of July and the 24th of September. This one only goes up to the 9th of September. We have here 12th, between 20th of August and 12th, 13th and 15th of November. With Junikov over here. Okay. I think we're going to begin then with the 23rd of July. And with the German 6th Army and the 6th Panzer Army moving towards Stalingrad. Now, let's see. So there's no bonuses here to the AI. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the actual Axis side first and foremost. And just get an idea of what to expect from the actual game here. So it's going to be a bit of a learning journey for us both, really. But this is what I was talking about. And I did have a quick look through, but this is what I was talking about in just improvements, really. Now, it was a very similar system to what we had in North Africa, the Desert War. But this is new, and I do like that you do have animations over here to help explain the situation. We do have an overview of the map. We can actually see some geographical features marked. It's going to be really quite cool. So this campaign consists of 4 scenarios that cover the advance of the 6th Panzer Army towards the city of Stalingrad between the 31st and the 9th of September 1942. So the 6th Army strikes. So we do have Chunikov over here. Chukov, not Chunikov. Apache, so Stalingrad front. Yep, there we are. Okay. And we begin. So this is going to be quite familiar to those of you, and I know I've said that a few times, but it is going to be very familiar to those of you who have played the Desert War, or at least seen it. It works in a very, very similar situation. Very similar fashion. Let me just go ahead and get the music going again here. There we are. Nice to have something in the background, isn't it? Oh, I think it'll be out in the near future there, Volsgoridia. I think it'll be out in the near future. Okay. So, let's go ahead and zoom out over here then. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up the briefing once again. Let's just take a look around the UI first and foremost. have that on there. That could be handy, but I'll leave that off for now. Okay, we do have our tables. And then we do have our scenario information here then. Okay. So you can see that we do have 2,500 meters per hex. I believe the overview map is 1.5. I think it's 1.5. I have to double check that. Okay. So, July 23rd, 1942, the Axis launched Operation Head-On. The purpose of this offensive was outlined in OKW Directive number 45. The task of Army Group B, Palos' 6th Army, is to develop the Don defences and by a thrust towards Stalingrad to smash enemy forces concentrated there, to occupy the town and block the land communication between the Don and the Volga, as well as the Don itself. The 6th Army strike covers the first 3 days of this operation. Okay. Now this is split into multiple operations, multiple missions really, which is pretty cool actually. So we do actually have a campaign to play now, so I do quite like that. And whilst before on Desert Wall we had scenarios, and obviously they could have been like campaign-esque scenarios, this one really does have that greater feel of being an actual campaign, so I do quite like that. Okay. Kalach. I'm going to assume Northern Pincer here, Bridgehead 1 and 2, Northern Pincer... 1 and 2 there. Access Supply, okay. Right, so we have 57,000, just shy of 58,000 men. The Soviets have just shy of 95. 373 vehicles, 727 there. Not too bad in the way of guns. I mean, we do have 2-to-1 ratio on the guns there. And we do have superiority in the air, so that's going to be quite handy there. So 634 to 420. Okay, command and control values. Right, that'd be interesting to take a look at how that's going to have a big impact. So, Axis mission. Attack to encircle and destroy enemy forces in the Don Bend. If possible, capture Bridgehead over the Don River. Alright. Elements of German 6th Army. So we have the 14th Panzer Corps as well as the 8th Army Corps. Now, these actual units over here, I believe that when you have like one, it's equivalent to about 40 aircraft, I do believe. So you can see that we do have quite a few aircraft to work with there. Air reconnaissance, air transport, ACE. That's going to be useful. As well as the air transport, we're going to have to try that new mechanic out. So naval assets, none, of course. It would be nice if we did have some, but I don't think we have control of the River Don, really. Let alone the ability to get anything really on there. So, command assets and intelligence assets. We do have logistical assets there for plus to our combat, which is going to be quite handy. The weather's good. Moonlight supports night, air, and logistics operations, which is going to be important there. Yeah, no, it's good. It is good. It is difficult, I guess, to make in a way. But I don't know. I don't really understand. Well, I don't know much about game design, really. So that could be me talking about out of my backside. But I'd assume this is probably a harder thing to create, really. But I'm not too sure. I suppose in some ways it might be easier for the AI because this is going to make its moves, but then of course that occurs at the same time that the player makes their moves. So I guess the AI... I suppose, I don't know if you could say that the AI is reacting to you because obviously the movement takes place at the same time, so the AI is making its moves without having to consider how to react to you. But then again, this is it, isn't it? It's like you can't really react to the AI as much. Yeah, that's an interesting consideration, actually. I guess it might be easier to program the AI for this, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, and then this is where we are right now. Okay. Yeah, if anybody knows anything about that, it'd be pretty cool to take a crack at explaining it. Okay, so we'll take a closer look over here then. So we do have some assault guns over here. We do have a Pioneer Battalion. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. The UI is just a little bit cleaner. Like, the counters look a little bit nicer over here as well. I quite like that. Something I do like as well is that we do note over here that we have... Now, for example, if I hover over the actual SEKFC 231 unit, you can see that we have a dotted green line, a checkered green line, leading back to actual headquarters over here. And I quite like that, as 60th Motorized Division headquarters. That's quite nice, and if I go ahead and hover over the 60th Motorized, you can see that we do have a solid green bar donating the unit's command, but then we do have a checkered to denote the fact that it is under the command of the Corps over here. Yeah, the 14th Panzer Corps. We also do have 2 brigade commands there, it seems. Engineer. Interesting. And they are veterans. Very cool. Yeah, so these are independent pioneer units. That's quite nice. Yeah. The graphics aren't too bad. They do seem to have been improvement, but I suppose this is the difference between a desert war and one in the east there, really. But I imagine with the actual terrain being hexes, it probably could be changed. Again, I don't know anything about graphical modding, but I assume so. So we do have some units down here. Of course, we do have a infantry regiment, 523rd Infantry Regiment. We do have a 297th Infantry Division headquarters. I do quite like this because the issue with War of the East, and it's not really an issue, it's just more so the fact that it's more operational. I suppose this is still operational, but it's a more tactical end of the operational scale. Like, we have a couple divisions, about a corps or something of that nature, maybe about 2 or 3 corps, whereas War of the East is covering really a grand operational scale, isn't it? Yeah, exactly there, Z. I quite like it. Of course, we'll not have the highlighted hexes over here shortly enough. Oh, I do like the fact that we can see that they're actually pulled by a horse. That's pretty cool. I do like that. Little details do make a big difference there. So we do have our 15cm guns, our 10.5s. Yeah, mostly dry grass indeed. Okay, yeah, and then we do have our Corps Command there. They appear to be the Panzer there. Yeah, the 24th Panzer Corps. I thought we only had the 14th Panzer Corps, was it? Oh, here's our infantry complement, okay. So we have 16th Panzer Division over here then. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, this is it. I mean, of course, I wish I could have given you guys more detailed information. I've just simply not had much of a chance this week due to moving out tomorrow. So, and I do quite like the exploration of games of this nature. I always do think that if you can actually play a game without really having had much chance to do background research or to understand how the deeper mechanics work, I think it does show that the game is well enough designed that it can be learned without that. Obviously, reading the manual is a good idea, and that's something I will be doing. But I'm a little bit familiar with the actual mechanics of the game from playing Desert War. So we do have our 21cm heavy artillery over here. Quite like that. So we do have a lot of toys actually to work with here. We do have good amounts of artillery. Reconnaissance is going to be quite cool. So we have some blue Luftwaffe flag. Oh, that's very cool. I was going to say the blue makes me think of the Luftwaffe. HMG, good. Okay. We do have a lot of forces to play with here then. A number of engineers. Oh, hang on a second. Do we have some French? No, I thought it was the French flag for a second there. It looked slightly blue. When I saw it there, I thought that was like a potentially a dark blue. I was like, oh, hello. Do we have something like the... Oh, what was it named? No, I think there was like an SS unit comprised of Frenchmen. Was it the Charlemagne? I think it was. Yeah. Oh, we do have our Nebelwerfers over here. Our Nebelwerfers. Okay, so that's pretty cool then. So we've taken a quick look at the forces we have to play with here. And that's quite a lot, isn't it? Yeah, so we do have the actual... Yeah, so we have the 14th Panzer Corps, and then it looks like we have the 24th Panzer Corps over here then. Yeah, again, I do like the command and control aspect here. Especially being able to see the lines connecting. That's really quite nice. And then we do have 6th Army Command there under Paulus. Okay. Now, let's take a look towards our objectives then. See our order of battle first then. I always do like this. I always find this really quite handy. Really quite like that. Of course, there's using NATO symbols over here. So we have our rocket artillery there. We have our engineers, our pioneers. Very nice. Okay, reassigned divisional headquarters. That's pretty cool. And that's going to matter quite a good deal as we move forward here. We do have a range, of course, that they need to be within. Otherwise, they will suffer. So we have our supply and ammunition allocation over here. And interestingly enough, actually, I did like this, is that we have the replacements over here. Which is something that we didn't have in the actual Desert War. So this is going to be quite interesting to see there. So equipment increased last turn. Enemy interdiction reduced personnel by 0. Ah, okay. So this is our current. There we go, that's our cost, okay. Again, this will be an interesting mechanic to play with. We don't really have a huge amount, and fuel is going to be quite important. As you would imagine. Okay. Yeah, they've definitely added to the UI here. We do have night capable units, night being a more important, really more meaningful part of the actual game. Better represented, I would say. So we have our zones of control. Again, I'm just really quite happy with how they've improved the UI here. As the Legion of French Volunteers. Oh, okay. I'm sure there's like a SS unit. Maybe it was nicknamed Charlemagne, I'm not too sure. I'm sure I've seen something of that nature. As communication, yeah. They've really added to this, which is really quite good. So we have our supply levels. Unit shock. They've really, really gone out of their way to just improve on what was actually a pretty fun game. A lot of things over here to actually just really help. I'm really quite impressed by that. Okay. So we can see here then. Red Hexized affects combat, so we cross the river at that point, which is also not a good thing there. Black is impassable, and blue sides also affect movement, it seems. I'm not seeing blue sides, so it should be okay there. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look towards where our objectives are going to be then. So that's what's going to matter here. Ah, okay. Okay, thank you very much, Fezzy. So we do have our objectives over here in the north then. Yeah. So you can see that we do have... I suppose you'd call it like a spork. Branches off anyway from the Don River, well, the main river. That's going to make things difficult. We don't need to worry ourselves with these towns over here in the centre then, which is at least something. We do have objectives down here then. I do note the amount of bridges over here that we're going to have to try to secure. So really, we are going to have to choose where we push and how we cross. Okay. So this would be our, that would be our 297th Infantry Division then. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the actual... There we are. As you can see that we have 9 attack, 28.8 defense, and 4 remaining moves there. I do like the information. What I like over here as well is that we can take a look at this. And you just have more control, and I really do like that. I can break the unit down if we... I don't know if I can break down a regiment. I don't really wish to do that, but I imagine we probably could do. We have information here as we did beforehand. And yeah, you can see here distance from HQ is 2. On in HQ's range there being 10. Yeah. Okay. And you can see that we don't have 9 capability here. Yeah, no, I mean, this is it. I don't know if you saw the prior game of Desert War Verzi, but they've definitely added to it, and it's really quite good. Let's take a look at what support we have then to begin with. That's cool. I always thought they looked a little bit like, almost like dragonflies in a way. So we have a Focke-Wulf 189A1 there, our reconnaissance, and a second one 89A1 there. We don't have attack aircraft right now, we do have transportation. So transport units can land supply onto friendly airfields, click on an airfield hex and supply it. Supply will continue until the transport is reassigned, and I do quite like that. It makes it a pretty simple system to use, and it is going to be an important one. So, I mean, that adds in another consideration then, and that is about airfields. I don't know if we have one. So we have the town here. I do like the images, by the way. They're pretty awesome. Yeah. The open step up there. So we have an airfield over here then. Yeah, and this way too. So, yeah. So we do have a couple airfields actually. I'm not seeing any in the immediate vicinity here. We have to push in deeper, but that is going to be a consideration to have. And that is really going to matter a great deal, having those airfields. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how we're going to take this approach. Over here we're having to deal with rivers. Of course, but the bridges aren't really that conducive to us. That one's not too bad. That was pretty good down here, Lysov. But we don't have the road continue. It does continue down here on a bend, but I'd rather it continue straight. We do have the airfield here. We do have a number of airfields here. But then we need to get across here. And the only way we can get across here is by dealing with this one river crossing there. Unless we can ford elsewhere, really. Which I'm going to assume this is what this is. Okay. Let's take a look at the UI here, then. Oh, wow. See, that's pretty handy. Oh, we can turn the hex outlines off as well. And that makes the map look a little bit nicer, in fact. I'm going to keep them on for now, because it does help out with planning. How are we going to want to take this, then? So what do we have here, then? Step. Okay. It looked like hill to me. Unless I'm not clicked on it. Now I'm clicked on it. I'll still step. Ah, okay. Kind of look like... I suppose it could be raised. Doesn't necessarily have to be a hill. Alright. We do have a highway over here as well. And that really matters, though. The open step. So we want to use the highways for additional movement. We do have track over here. Okay. So I have a movement cost of 0.5. And the highway is 0.25. The highway over here I can make use of. We don't really have a track leading over this way, and we have to ford the river off. Yeah, I'll find a bridge further along, but it looks like we're going to have to ford the river there. It looks like we do have engineers here. I'm going to assume that they'll have a capability for... bridging engineers can destroy or repair bridges. Yeah, okay, that's going to matter there. Let's right-click the unit and press bridging. Okay, I'm going to assume that's going to come up when we actually reach there. Right, that is pretty helpful. So we are going to have to take a look at what we have in terms of engineers. Now, this over here is pretty slick. I do like that word slick. Yeah, so we have 16th Panzer Division now. 16th then has a pretty interesting job to go. How you doing there, bitch? Good to have you, my man. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good so far. The crossing over here is not too bad. I don't like river crossings in general. The reason... it depends though, really. So we have a stream here. Yeah, bridge, okay. Attack loses shock. We can't overrun. Our attack balance reduced to 25%. Stream over here then. That's not good. I think I'd prefer to take the road over here. The track over here to the north, I would say. The infantry. We have additional crossing points over here. I could even ford it at a certain point if I wanted to do so. I kind of like this point because at least we have multiple points I should cross. Even over here I have 2 points across, and then there's that one there. The highway would be quite attractive though, because if I could get there with the infantry, or at least a regiment or something of that nature, some strength over here to be able to move up towards Lysov, it would be quite nice to try and flank down this way, or at least try and get to a point where we can try and secure an airfield, or just try and not to be too funneled when trying to cross, really. So we'll have to see how that goes. I think I'm going to go ahead and leave deployments as they are, just for the sake of time. But yeah, planning is going to be quite important here. So do we have our pioneers? Yeah, they can clear minefields. And also they do help with forts and towns. Okay. Have an element of Luftwaffe AA. Our headquarters over here for the pioneers. Large amounts of equipment over here then. Right. So, as to where to ford, I think it may be worthwhile to maybe ford at this point over here if I could. River, okay, should be able to ford that. And the reason I say that is because I'd have a pontoon bridge across here, and then at least I'm directly onto the track. Connoisseurs Battalion could head down this way. So we have some Croatian infantry over here then, that's pretty cool. So support that too. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about there. And then at least I can actually make use of track here. I'm really looking for movement more than anything else. I don't really want to engage as such, I want to try and surround, cut them off from supply and then deal with that. So we have 2 regiments over here, and their artillery. That should be okay, but this is going to be a problem over here with the town. Yeah, but at least we're on track. We do have our bridging engineers here, which is very good. Where would we want to cross here then? It may be that we cross over this way, but I don't like the fact that we have a marsh now. This area in general is not exactly ideal. I do have... I've got to bear in mind movement costs too. Yeah, rolling step. I've got to bear that in mind, yeah. You can take a look over here and see that we have half costs over there. Due to the actual track. Okay. Have the woods here. Light wood. I could maybe push over this way and around. Like when we have the bridge there, we also have the river and we have a track, but it is woods too. Maybe if I could go through the open steppe, through the town, which is going to cause some issues perhaps, and then maybe around towards a track and try to cut out this area over here, but it's a case of time more than anything else. But it may be that we have the Croatians over here in the north, I should try and make something there. We'll have to approach it individually, really. It does make me wonder if it's actually worth even crossing over here. I think probably yes, because we do need to get sufficient forces across here, but it's like, where do we make that crossing point? If I could maybe bridge it over here, it may be better. I'm going to lose some movement going across the actual open steppe, but, well, rolling steppe, I should say. Not ideal, but at least I could maybe make it over here to the actual crossing point and maybe get across immediately, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be defended there, isn't it? It's going to be a rough one. I think whichever way we want to cut it. So we have our setup. I'm going to go with setup as is. Alright, oh, that's going to be a question, then how to actually allocate our assets. So, we do have radio intercept. Intel estimates over here too. Electronic warfare direction finding. And that's all we have right now. We have our strength, we have our range. Oh, that's pretty good actually. Reconnaissance aircraft. They have decent enough range. They don't have that much of a way of strength though. The question's going to be like, where do we actually have them deployed? So if I have it sent over here to the town, it's going to tell us that it's going to give us information about 3 hexes around, but it does diminish. The strength does diminish per hex. But is that a problem? Because I could bypass that if necessary. I don't need to take every town. I can bypass if needs be. I really want information about the actual crossing points. The points that actually matter. I could even bring the bridging unit down this way, maybe a bridge over here, but at least I'm going track to track. Granted it's across a pontoon bridge, but at least it's track to track. Yeah, they kind of do actually, I agree with that one, Bench. This is an area I'd like to have information on, due to the fact that we have 3 objectives over here. There's a lot of competition for resources here. I don't like all the bridges here. I'm not too sure if it's worthwhile running information over here, because I may be able to reach that. I feel like there's going to be forces in this vicinity, but I feel like I do have enough assets to deal with them. I think I'm going to ignore the town if there's a problem there. And try and bypass. With the open step, that's not too bad. Oh, I think it said, what was it now? 1 second, I'll go ahead and check that. It said something in the manual, actually. There's like 2 scales. We have 2,500 meters per hex. And then there's another scale for like an overview map, but I forget what that one was, actually. Now that's a very important point there, because that's the straight road across, and that actually leads us fairly well. We do have the open terrain here, we do have rolling step 2. But that actually does lead us in a position like this bridge over here. I mean, granted I could go around, but I think this is a good position to potentially have it. I don't know. I don't know if it's actually worthwhile using reconnaissance right now till I know really where I'm going to be moving my men. I do get additional use out of them, but I'm just not entirely sure right now. How do you guys feel about it? Over here is probably something that could be argued for. This is close to our deployment, so I can imagine that there is going to be defense over here. It may be worthwhile actually placing our reconnaissance over here, because this is actually going to likely matter. So I think I will go ahead and deploy it over here then. What I'm going to go ahead and do then is I'll place one... Oh, and I love the fact that you can actually see that. That's actually really, really nice. That's a real nice improvement there. Okay, I'm a happy bunny there. Okay, that covers 3 bridges. Let's see. A little bit more to the south. Yeah, there we are. Okay, that's about as much as I'm prepared to use there. So we have our reconnaissance covering this area here. I think this area is a pretty important... I think it's a pretty defensible position because we have the river there, you have the river here. I don't know, maybe class as a stream. Okay, so you have the streams here. You also do have a stream there. You have a pretty good and, well, fairly defensible position there, really. That looks pretty good. But yeah, we'll go with that, man. We'll move in into the setup. Well, sorry, into the first turn. Let me double check here. Yeah, I'm going to keep them as they are. So we'll move forward. Okay. Oh, okay, now we have some information then. Right, let's see what we have to work with. So we have, yeah, you can see here, this is where our reconnaissance actually went ahead. So we have a battalion, no, sorry, brigade of armor perhaps. Regiment of infantry here. A company of motorized infantry. Headquarters down here, divisional apparently. And then we have these additional units. Now this is kind of what I was expecting and also feared, is that we do have defenders on the actual bridges. At least that one we can actually get to grips with. And it makes sense really, there's 2 crossing points here, they have to defend the point that they can with the fewest number of men, and that's going to be here. Okay. So that is a point to consider, really. It may be more heavily defended, but I don't have to deal with the river crossing. I also do have a track and potentially the highway to use here. So it could be that we move along and then come down, or just move straight. Depends, really. Here I'm not sure what we're dealing with. I'm not too sure that's deal. I'd imagine so. I think if Desert War is on Steam, I'm not too sure. But I know it'll definitely be on the Matrix and Silver Install, so I know that's a bit of a cop-out answer, but I actually do not know at this point in time. Right, we have a reconnaissance company over here. I do like the improvements to the actual counters, they're quite cool. So we have a regular unit here, we have a green unit, I think it is our inexperienced unit. Okay. Right, we'll work with that information then. So we have move and attack over here. Now, we can have move and defend, I think is the alternative. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, so that's our road movement, which is going to come in handy. That's our move and attack. This is our move and defend. Now, move and defend is a nice order. Essentially what happens is if they come into contact with the enemy, they will halt unless they can overrun them, unless they feel that they have the odds to overrun them. Doesn't mean that they'll always make the right decision, but it means that often they can try to avoid the worst cases. But it does mean that they may just stop. Potentially a battle that they may be able to win. But it's something to bear in mind. And then we do have, of course, road movement here, which is obviously, as you can imagine, very handy. Allows us to move at greater speed. Right. Dealing with a battalion here. 3 battalions. Track and open step. They have the light woods over here to cover their flank. They're completely open. Okay. So we have the 113th Division here. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do then is, where do we actually want to have 113th? Because that's going to be this swing, isn't it? We have deployed over here then to the north. Sorry, down here, 16th Panzer Division. And that is just the 297th. My objectives are here, not so much here. I could maybe have the 297th move up the track over here. And maybe pivot around. I don't really want to have to deal with the bridge crossings. I don't really want that. But I do kind of like the idea of having the 297th moved over to this position here. And that's going to act as something like a... it's covering the flank of the actual Panzer Division. And then I do have a 113th that could. And the 113th is a little more spread out there. But note the fact that they have elements deployed over here and elements deployed over here. These guys are obviously intended to support the actual Panzer Division. So I think I would like to have a infantry division here to cover this and potentially assault towards this position. Allow the panzers to really be able to push on deeper. And then obviously we have the division here to cover too. So I could potentially bite me in the ass. But I guess we'll find out. I could make use of road movement moving up that way, I'd imagine. I guess we'll find out, really. Okay. Put you there. Do you have the artillery here too? What's that range like? Okay. May just be easier to cross, but no, it looks like we have to go that way. Okay. Oh, actually. That's a good point. I didn't realize, I didn't notice, but the track is obviously on this side of the river then, isn't it? Okay. Makes me wonder if it's actually worthwhile crossing the river when I could maybe go that way. Is that going to be better? Let's take a look at that. I could move there. And I think I will. I know it's going to be one of those where it may achieve the same thing, but at least I can avoid creating more traffic, perhaps. So I'll move that way, and then they can cross onto the actual track the turn afterwards then. I mean, they could move like that. That's kind of how I just wanted to take them, or even move out that way. Let's see. That's already there. Now, we do have Krivolv over here, which we are going to have to trank. I'm going to have to get reconnaissance over here to take a look at that. So, they have really good, yeah, so they've got intel range of 3 and intel strength of 4. They're actually really quite fantastic, in fact. What do we have here? Change orders. Okay. Yeah. See, zone control is going to be a real important thing here. We'll take a look at that one shortly thereafter, but... so, I'm looking at a range of 3. I probably want to kind of move them out this way. I kind of get information here. I'm going to try and avoid this area if I can. I just simply need to be aware of what threats may be out there. Ooh, it's interesting, really. We'll take a look at it shortly enough, but if I hover over the battalion here, you can see that we have 530 men in that battalion. So obviously when you do have larger fights, like over here we have a regiment with 2,000 men in there, 2,200 shy. You can have these large battles, but it's, I mean, this is it. This hex over here is what did we say it was? 2,500? Yes, it's 2,500. So you can imagine the scale of combat that could take place at 2,500 meters. Really depends on where the battle is, what the context of the battle is. You can imagine had it, well, were it a urban centre, numbers will probably be increased. Here in this open rolling terrain, we actually do have a lot more maneuverability to play with. I'm going to move out this way. I kind of want to avoid this, perhaps. Move out that way. I kind of want to avoid being detected if I can. I'm just trying to gain information as we go. Move it towards the outskirts of the town. Do they have... They do have range. Can I have... Yeah, see, what I can do over here then is I could issue... I don't have a target here, but I can go ahead and issue... That should be defense. If I take a look at that. Right. Now if I hover over here, it should be defensive artillery, which should in theory follow them, so I'm going to have... I hope it doesn't fire upon them, it shouldn't. It's going to be defensive. Yeah, it will be defensive. This unit over here then, the headquarters I should say, I really do want to have that move up, I think. But yeah, what I'm going to go ahead and do then is give them defensive battery fire from the 10.5s. The 150, the 15 centimeter guns are moving now. They're moving there. And that's about it. We'll have the regiment go forth, but at least they'll have some artillery cover, or support that should be, and the reconnaissance bicycle battalion is going to move forward there. Okay. Over here it's going to matter a lot about where to deploy the infantry, but I do feel like it's going to be worthwhile to push out towards the north, try and tackle this as we go. I know I'm going to be dealing with armor here, as well as motorized elements. I do have to have something down here just to cover our own flank. But, yes, we'll see about that. I'm going to try and use the Panzer Division to really dive deep if I can. That's going to be a whole other task in itself. Okay. Combat engineers. So we have 2 battalions there of the 268th Infantry Regiment. So that does answer the question that you can break down the regiments into battalions. I do like the scale here. I mean, we have company scale. I think we have potentially smaller scale as well in certain circumstances. Okay. The track over here is fantastic, but I do wonder if it might be worthwhile to move over here to the north and at least I'm on this side of the river. Because the infantry following up here, how far could they actually reasonably move? Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Well, if I move up this way, maybe I could move out quicker in the long run. But saying that, I could... I think maybe... I don't want to take this. This is it, we don't have any information over here. But I don't really have an objective here either, as such. I really want the track. That's what matters to me. If I can push up for the center here, unhinge their defensive line, that'd be quite good. There's going to be defenders around here, so I think what I want to go ahead and do then is move on the outskirts of the town if I can. But I'm going to want to have infantry probably to control the crossing points over here just to make sure we don't get hit on the flank. And that of course would be harder over this way, but I think what we want to control then is intersections like this really, so like having infantry here would be quite important, controlling that area. So we'll go ahead and we'll follow the track I should say. But I'll make sure they do follow the track. Artillery over here. Doesn't quite have that range. Oh, that's the headquarters, sorry. Right. We're gonna need the pioneers here. Okay. That's a good question. The commanders themselves, I don't know if they have any special effects. I think the actual headquarters has an effect, but I don't know about commanders themselves, in fact. I'm not too sure on that one. A good question, actually, something I've not taken a look into before. Okay, so we have our artillery over here. We do have our infantry there. Right. These fine fellows over here. I'm tempted to maybe run them down this way. But I'm going to have reconnaissance over here. I mean, we have the SDKFC 231s over here, the Panzer Reconnaissance Battalion. And they're pretty good at their jobs. I think I'll have them follow this way, but I don't know if it's worth following the actual highway itself, just because there's... Well, actually, what I could go ahead and do then is... Let's go ahead and go into not move and attack, but move and defend. And then what I can go ahead and do then is follow the actual highway. If they encounter anything, unless they can outright win, then they'll stop. Sorry, if they can't, then they'll stop. I'll move out to the artillery over here. These fellows over here, though, can get their asses moving. The artillery as well. Okay. Ha, we have a lot of assets to play with here, don't we? Yeah. Those are some big guns there, 21 centimeter guns. So we don't even see Stalingrad on the map yet. We have to get there. We do have a rail line here. Okay. Now how to move the Panzer Division. So we have battalions of motorized infantry over here. Oh, we have Panzer. Yeah. Armoured, mechanized, the Schutzen Regiment there. I guess they're all Schutzen, but obviously these are the armoured Schutzen. Do we have SPG? I don't think we do. No. Right, we have 122 vehicles in here. It's a good amount of strength for that. That's a bloody lot of strength, really. Now, the question is, how do we want to take this? Because I could go ahead, follow the track until maybe about there, then cross. So we have the open step to play with. I kind of wish I'd maybe been a little bit more liberal in my reconnaissance, because it would have been kind of handy around here. But I will. We'll have to figure that one out as we go. I think I could still actually deploy some of it there. So we do have command assets, we have logistics over here, so ammo pre-stock. Yep, they're down there. We do have attack right now. Okay. We do have our ace. Yeah, I feel like this is the point when I'm gonna push through. I do have a track to work with, but I'm gonna have to fight through these towns, more than likely. So I think I would like to have some information. This intel instrument has a huge range. But I mean, the strength does diminish. But it's useful just simply to know what's in the vicinity at times. Let's see. So that covers this over here then. I don't know if it's really worthwhile covering over here in the north. They may have defenders, but I don't think they'll have too many. I could maybe accept that I'm going to be somewhat surprised potentially over here, but I don't think they'll have too many forward defenders. But they could do. They have forward defenders down here, but the question is going to be, well, what do they have beyond that? Because I can bypass that, but if I bypass, I need to know kind of what I'm getting myself into. Alternatively, I could just drive across. And I kind of like that idea because I can avoid the towns. I can still make some limited use of the track. Only a limited amount of use though. But this looks to be an important point because I have two crossings over here, then one to the north and one to the south. Well, one to the east. But it's a pretty important location because this does command a heck of a lot of mobility around here. So I think I will go for that one. I'll try anyway. Okay. Here is an interesting one. So we have a lot to play with. Well, we have different things to play with there, really. We have a lot of artillery. Not as much in the way of armor, and we still do have a lot of armor. Panzer III-J. Panzer III-J there. But we do have a lot of artillery support. Granted, we still have artillery support over here, really. I don't know if I want to use it there. Really, we... I kind of, yeah, in fact, actually, it probably is worthwhile along here, because if I can control the highway, I can have the Panzer Division over here in the north, take the highway, the Panzer Division this way can push towards this area here, then what I could maybe do is look to secure maybe the road to the north, or maybe the road to the east, or something of that nature. And then, like, try and come across over here and meet with the two forces, perhaps, and then encircle us in this area. Okay. I get a little bit more information about what may be here. Because I still need to have enough room to move. I'm likely going to have to take on the town to really gain full control of the highway. I can bypass it, but I'm going to have to deal with it at some point. So I'll run that there. Again, it gives us information to see if there's any defenders. It gives us information on what's in the forest over here, perhaps, or at least gives us an indication. It covers the two towns, covers this intersection over here as well. There's obviously that one too. At least I know kind of what I'm playing with in this area. Then over here. I may save that one. Let's go ahead and take a look at zone of control. Right, so we have enemies under control here. Yeah, no, the bridges. That's pretty nasty over there. Yeah, you can see how they daisy chained out here. I want to avoid this area because this area is not going to be as easy to bypass. Well, it's not going to be easy to pass anyway. I think what we can go ahead and do then is ignore the town to a degree. Maybe have some infantry march down that way if I have any infantry. But I think I'm going to make my point... the focus point being over here. The reason being that there's just a one. I can drive down the actual track over here and hit them in the open terrain, clear terrain. Open step, I should say. And then once past their inferior, as long as there's not anything beyond that, I am in the clear. But it does break the chain. It does mean I can move around, but I'm going to just come around here too. That's going to play a big role. I'll tell you what though, they really have improved the actual UI here. Like, I do feel like we have a lot more information to actually work with. I feel like I have a great control. I do like that. Okay. Again, over here, I can avoid quite a lot. I think we are going to go ahead and avoid confrontation over here. To some extent. So this is Lorried, okay. I do want to kind of go in for the center there. We have our armored Schutzen over here. They really want to be on the track, don't they? So I think I may have them push out that way. Right, they can go back there for the time being. You know, that's a good question, actually. I think we're playing days, sorry, hours. We have the time here, we have a day here as well, so you'll see that. I forget how long passes, actually. Good point, that. Okay, they can pile up over there. Okay. There's a way to actually cancel that. I forget what the button is. What I'm going to go ahead and do then is have them on an aggressive stance. Yeah, make use of the road. Keep them together. Okay, so that's how we're going to more or less roll. Ah, yeah, there you go. was hoping I could change the other one. There we are. Okay. I think what I'll do then, perhaps, maybe cover this area. I know it kind of overlaps, but I do want to have good information on this area here, then. Okay. So we have powerless. Right. Okay. I'm gonna have that absolutely moved up and kind of use that. I kind of want to have it in a position where it can either swing north to the or to the south with their firepower. So kind of central position on the highway is pretty good for me. Artillery is fairly slow, so being able to move is pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Okay. Now, we don't have a huge amount of time left. So I'm going to try and get things done. I think we'll be able to see a turn. I may not be able to be as anal as I normally would be, but we'll see about that. We'll see, we'll see. Okay. This shouldn't take too much longer in fairness. Alright, go ahead and get that zone control up. Move to that point back. Let's move them there for the moment. Also, we have the regiment there. That's cool. Okay, so I can subject them to fire, which I will. But saying that, is it worthwhile? Because I'm slowing my movements, and I need them to move. They are lurid, but I want to take advantage of that. So I think most of this is lurid. Or truck born anyway, which is a pretty bloody big difference. Alright, so I can move the reconnaissance up over here. I would have focused my effort then. I could then potentially move down here to engage the 2nd Battalion. So I could move down here with the assault guns and the Panzer IIIs. We also have Pioneers. I'd rather have infantry, perhaps, but the armor should do it. Should. It may be worthwhile to... But then again, no. The zone control over here doesn't impact me. So I think it probably was a good idea to tackle both of these. I can use the highway and the track. So let's go ahead and cancel that movement there. And change the order to attack. Like so. They can have those guns then to fire upon the enemy. The infantry can also push in there too, if that matters. They can move up over there. We're going to have attack orders just in case, because we are seeing enemy close by. Right, range is relatively short. so they can move up over there, take advantage of the zone control. So we have the infantry veterans as well. Okay. Tank destroyers, not so much tanks as such. Right. Pioneers in here too. That position is going to require more artillery. Probably overkill, but I want to make sure that we can take that relatively easily. I'm going to go ahead and do... Then ideally they could continue. Okay. So if I smash that, I should be able to move through here then. I'm gonna need them. They can move down this way because they'll be able to push across them. Right, we'll be a little bit quicker, so I do want to go ahead and show an actual turn here. Yes, there is a combat limit. I forget what the actual limit is to the amount that can participate. That's different now. Let me go ahead and take a look. Like, the size of the units matter. Like, for example... There we go. So that is the stacking limit. There we go, stacking size, I should say. Yeah, zone control, yeah. I forget what it is now. I'll have to double check that. I tend to remember like a sieve. Yeah, I remember all the fundamentals of the game, but I tend to forget the details. And the infantry over here. I was saying that I did take the bridging unit. I probably don't want to go ahead and do that. Yeah, they're gonna need it. Yeah, exactly. I'll wait for the infantry to move over here, but now push them up. And then we'll consider where to cross. Well, they can remain there. Those assets can shift up, I think. Engineers and engineers and engineers and engineers. Artillery. And some assault guns, some tank destroyers. Pretty nice stuff, really. And I'm gonna want to get that across, aren't I? I really kind of want that point there. But it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna bring the amount of firepower down this way, so I can try and force across it over there, or something of that nature. I'm gonna move things along fairly quickly now. Maybe not the most optimum thing to do, but I do want to make sure I can show you guys the actual turn. Then move on there. Okay. I'm not too familiar with. I'm not too comfortable with that because I haven't actually secured that. Maybe it's already secured though. Okay. I think we're kind of at a point now. I think what I'll do is take a look at air support. But I may be okay for now. What I'm going to go ahead and do then is, let's see. Yeah, there you go. 5 planes. Attack, defense, ground support. Yeah, they have some good attack there. Interdiction. Right. So I don't know what we're dealing with in terms of like AA. Yeah, we can see our own flag strength, but I can't. Well, no, I guess I can kind of see that. Yeah, I can kind of see that. So they have some flak anyway. Looks like they have more flak. They definitely have more flak. I hadn't noticed this behind here actually. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. But we'll go ahead and we'll go with that. We'll go with that. Can I make a quick save? There we are. Okay. So now we have about 15 minutes, but I think we've gone through quite a few things. Maybe we could have done more, but I think we generally have things okay. And we'll see how it goes. That'll be interesting. Okay. Ooh, wow, yeah, there's quite a few more than I had anticipated. Yeah, maybe I should have actually had some reconnaissance there. Some of these guys are on road movement orders, so they'll probably not push through that. See, that's a mistake there. Yeah, more men than I'd hoped. But, well, we'll see. So... yeah, we've seen an attack over here then. We did have counter-air set. So we see that these units over here are bolted. These are ones over here reduced to half strength. So I think we did have our own air power. Yeah, they do attack. Lost a couple men. Not a great deal of damage perhaps there. Defensive bonus, interesting. Okay. Right, we have our artillery barrage over here. not showing too much over here, but of course this is a bombardment. It's not really a spawn attack, so... Not yet, anyway. 22 men lost over there. They do lose some readiness. What are we going up against here? We're going up against the rifle. I thought it was a guards unit. I think... they're guards in the south, aren't they? Right, reconnaissance moving. Okay, so they shift their positions, perhaps. Okay. Right. So we're suffering zone of control over here. We do have the armor over here, in fact. We are seeing flak. Panzers, yeah. Soviet armor. Oh. We do have an attack. Has the attack begun? Alright, so listen as the bombardment. I think they'd actually vacated that position, perhaps. Oh, had they vacated? Okay, so they moved out of there. And we have the time over here. Let's go ahead and actually progress that. Right, so they do move out of that position. What we'll have to do then is like take a look at different parts of the line. Right, we have our first attack as far as I'm aware of here. Yeah, we suffer no losses on our part here. We had a pretty good die roll there, 5. I think you have only a d6, so that's a pretty good roll. Intensity is medium. We do have a shock. Well, actually, no, I think we would have had the shock had it just been the armor there. But we did have the pioneers in it as well. That's a good start to attack there, so no losses. We do suffer small loss of readiness. Their order to withdraw failed. So I think, yeah, they lost 133 men there. 32% of their readiness, 18% there. Their forced retreat, I don't think that's probably the retreat they want. Okay. Right, reconnaissance company. Armored cars, reconnaissance. I've seen some guns out here, motorized. Right, looks like anti-tank guns over there, potentially artillery. Yeah, so we have the move and attack over here. Right, we will have, in theory, units pushing down here, but we'll see about that. So, I think that was the limit to our orders there. Not too sure. Here we go. So we have a meet in battle. The intensity is extreme. We do take losses here. We had a poor die roll there. I think they were set to an attack order. I think that one indicates attack order. So we had a regiment go up against a battalion. So 58 of 2274. A lot of readiness lost there, but then again, this is a meet-in engagement. They had 9 and 23. I think that was the unit that had previously been bombarded, however. So they shifted back over here. So I guess that's the limit of their advance over here. And in fairness, actually worked out kind of well. So I guess we'll actually have the artillery in position to really... Well, we can really choose our types. We also see AA over here. That'd be really nice to take out to deny the Soviets that AA. Okay. Right. Yeah, and that is kind of how the game works there. I do like it. I feel just due to the sheer scale here. It's going to be really quite fun. I mean, it's definitely quite the difference between having... I mean, even in Desert War we had a lot of men, but this feels different. I mean, we have multiple divisions here, which we did in Desert War, but I don't know. I think due to the sheer expanse over here, the vastness of it, just feels different. It seems like this area may be potentially empty, I'm not too sure there. But yeah, the Panzer Division over here then had a bit of a lucky break then. I guess the Guard did as well. Yeah, that's interesting though. Now that we have the Guard Division over here, we have regular down here to the south. This was fairly successful then. We did have the attack over here, but we had no losses suffered here. They were forced to retreat. So, these guys have been forced out. They were bombarded and forced out, defeated in the extremely intense meeting battle. Yeah, it was really quite good. Hannibal Bonaparte, that's an awesome name. That is an awesome, awesome name. It's a very good game. I think I will be covering this one a lot more in the future too. I quite like it. So, we'll go ahead and move then. Here, this is essentially how things lay as of now then. Let's see, can I gain anything else here? Supply levels. Right. Show unit shock. Unit strength. Intel range, yeah, that's a big deal. Yeah, so you can see over here that we have good intelligence generally in that area. Okay. These guys didn't make all that much in the way of progress, but that's fine. They ended up in the expected positions. But I do like is the fact that, I mean, the infantry regiment over here, it has relatively good reconnaissance. It's just obviously they're not pushing out as much. Like these guys have a greater range and slightly higher intel strength. They're more mobile, smaller unit in general, and obviously that's really what they are. They're a reconnaissance battalion. Yeah, supplied by main source, but they're on extended support right now. That is a mechanic I'm going to have to take a closer look into, because that's going to matter a great deal. They're supported, main support, main supply source. Okay. Unit readiness. So I don't get an indication of the enemy, but I do have an indication of my own. You can see that this unit over here did suffer a loss of some readiness, but that's to be expected at a meet and engagement, I guess you could say. At least now they will be more, well, they'll have substantially more support to come. Okay. Unit quality is an interesting one. Yeah, you can see them have very high quality here. They're a poorer quality there. That's a big thing to bear in mind. These guys over here are regular troops. Okay. We actually have them in a pretty good position then, so we do have the intelligence over here to help us out significantly. They do have the forest, but when we have the 10 centimeter guns there, I do have my 15 centimeters over here that just don't have that much in the way of range, but they're in range. We do have the actual panzers over here, which is a big deal. Yeah, I have the pioneers there too. We also do have the motorized regiment. Over here, then we've seen another unit. I think really we have a very good opportunity to just, I mean, this unit's going to be completely demolished shortly enough. The 490th Rifle Regiment. No, it's a battalion. So I can go ahead and drive the panzers through here. We do have the town of Platonov. Or Platonov. And I would rather avoid that if I could. Yeah, we're kind of embroiled in here. They're not, which is good. That kind of complicates things, but I can deal with that. And once I deal with that, then we have this center. Oh, we have this area broken open. So they have anti-tank and infantry over here too. We do see the divisional command out here too. I imagine they'll be shifting shortly. Yeah, bridging's going to be an interesting one. I kind of would like to have some reconnaissance over here just to take a look at this area. Oh wow, look at that, city infantry. That's pretty awesome. I do want those airfields, because they are going to help us out with resupply. I don't think I have one in the center. No. But I mean, this is not good for the... I mean, I know their guards are obviously going to be probably, I don't know about higher quality, but they'll generally have better equipment, or at least more of it. But we do find ourselves greeted by 2 battalions in the center. I'm going to avoid this over here, let the battalions of the infantry division close in on that, cover our flank. Do have the 2 motorized infantry battalions here. I may even have them form back up into the regiment, to be honest. So we have 64th, 64th. Where's... That's 79th. Where's the other elements of the 64th? Not too sure. And another unit here. Yeah, see, we present a lot of zone of control here. Impacting on them too. They impact on us, but not as much. So how do I want to take this? Because I could go ahead and have the Panthers turn this way. They can completely deal with that. Ideally overrun them. And they definitely will, because they have the tank shock over here, the shock, I should say. So you can see their shock shifts the odds of an attack by the shock value. A side shock is the maximum shock value of any of its units, reduced by the percentage of units that have no shock. The percentage is calculated of a unit on the unit stack and size. Yeah. Okay. Shock is really good. If I take a look at the AT there. No, it's really good actually about. And this is it. As I said earlier on, I haven't had that much time to actually look at the game. But it didn't take us too long to actually get into it. And you can definitely see how the game will flow. And obviously understanding final opponent's mechanics is going to be a big difference. Really, to just enjoyment, really. Now, I have more information over here to work with, but I don't like the fact that there's another unit over here. I don't really want to have to deal with additional zone of control. We do see that there's more here, so I feel like this could turn into like a meet engagement that... I'd rather not have a meet engagement, I'd rather have a planned engagement. But I'm going to go ahead and show how this looks over here. So if I go ahead and have that attack... so this is all the available units that could participate in here, which is actually really... Oh wow, that's real nice. Oh wow. I don't know if it was like that in Desert War. I don't think it was like that in Desert War, so that's a real nice improvement. Yeah, so we have our combat odds over here, so 5.1 to 1. I forget what the overrun odds are, but I think we'd definitely win that. Yes. Yeah, 15 to 1 there. 10... Oh, yeah, there we go. That would more than likely be an overrun. Better off giving them the auto support just to have that 10 to 1 odd there. But there we go. So we have, unfortunately, run out of time here for tonight. But this has been WEGO, World War II, Stalingrad. It's been a lot of fun, actually. I've quite enjoyed it. I'll be looking forward to covering it in the future. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be looking forward to playing it. And I'm going to go ahead and have a slight break. And then I will be back with some war plan. That'll be fun. So I'll see you guys in the future. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will be starting again shortly enough. So see you then. See you in about a couple of minutes. We're back then. Until then, goodbye for now. Take care.